I have to stay on CAHPS just because we all knew, that would be such a story in terms of this year's star ratings. Agree with everybody in terms of probably through this spring, right when the CAHPS surveys went out, had a sense of surely they're going to the right, and becoming more challenging. And then we started seeing the articles around the industry in terms of, well, now wait a second, we're seeing a reversal here. Now, the hypothesis that I've got in play here, and we're going through, various different tests tied to this, is I'm seeing what appears to be kind of an urban-rural divide. And Jessica and I, of course, are both in Oregon. And so we definitely have an urban aspect, and then we have rural, practically frontier aspects to what's happening. And I talked to a member in the Portland, Oregon metro area, right? No difficulty getting specialists. We're back in terms of that new normal now that everybody's kind of normalized tied to COVID. Meanwhile, I can go into a rural area, speak to a member there, and it's like traveling back in time 25 years. Value-based care hasn't taken hold, right? And the ability to see specialists, the ability to have adequate nursing staff in terms of rural areas is the big challenge. And so what I think is happening in terms of the access to care as surveyed in CAHPS is we've gotten back, or not back, but we're moving ahead in terms of where things had been tied to accessing care, accessing specialists, getting needed care, right? All those things that come up on CAHPS. But I think that in rural areas, to a certain extent, it's degraded from before 2020 levels. And so I'm guessing that that's the mix that we're seeing in play, trying to go about validating that, and then also, most important, fixing it for those rural members who are experiencing kind of a widening gap between what members, just 200 miles away face.
Yeah, so interesting, David. We saw exactly the same thing. We have a Snippet and a PPO in the north, and their counterparts in the south, two contracts in the south as well, and saw that exactly same story play out is what you just explained, with the north actually improving in some CAHPS measures that measure access to care, and completely the opposite story in the south, where you have just one pharmacy close and suddenly no one can get needed prescriptions, and we saw that play out in CAHPS as well.
Yeah.